Welcome back to the Spotters Podcast. Today we're looking back at an incredible weekend at the Vero Beach Air Show. Joining us is aviation photographer Brandon Connelly, whose images have become a favorite among aviation enthusiasts for their creativity, sharp eye, and ability to freeze some of the most exciting moments in flight. We'll recap the highlights from the flight line, talk about some upcoming plans to Oshkosh, and even discuss some of the biggest mistakes to avoid when attending an air show. Whether you are on the flight line, watching from home, or simply passionate about aviation photography, this episode is for you. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome
Good being
back,
here.
actually. This is your second time on the show.
Yeah, it's nice to be back.
Yeah, so we just kind of went over Vero Beach a little bit offline here, and we had a few demo teams. I'm going to go through those real quick so
Yep.
people could kind of follow along. The headliner was the Blue Angels. We had Next Gen Eagles, the Vampire Air Shows, Trojan Thunder, Ghost Rider Air Shows, Mini Jet Air Shows, Tony Ramuto in a MiG-17, Aaron DeLue, which I believe he has air shows attached to his name also. Maybe not. Franklin Flying Circus. There was, I can't remember the name right now, but it was the Twin Beechcraft.
Matt, what's his name? Matt something.
Yeah, I have to remember that one.
Is it Matt Youngkin or something like
Yes,
that?
Matt Youngkin, Flying Circus. And the McCart jet truck. So we've had it was a really small air show, but with some big names. So this being your first time at the Vero Beach Air Show, describe the atmosphere to me. Like, did you enjoy the statics? Did you enjoy more the performance? Like, what was one of your favorites?
I think I enjoyed more of the performances than anything. The statics were actually pretty decent for such a small air show. You had the one of our favorites. I know it's one of yours. It's one of mine now too. The zombie vipers. They're always fun to see and chat with and stuff like that. It was cool seeing, some of the helicopter stuff because they had the sheriff's helicopters and a few of the other things out there. They had the forestry division, which was kind of cool. I'd never seen that before. But I think one of my favorite things overall was like, and maybe it's just because of the air shows I seem to find myself at, but I felt like since COVID or maybe even before that, the Blues had kind of scaled back to like their full demo in like the ground part of it. Like I don't see the ground part of it, especially when they do like Sun and Fun like that, because they park across the airport from Sun and Fun.
Yeah.
So like at Sun and Fun in the bigger air shows, you don't get to see that kind of stuff. At Sanford, they really don't do. When the Thunderbirds fly at Sanford, you don't see the ground show as much either. So like, I feel like I've missed that aspect because I grew up seeing that stuff. So it's cool to kind of get to watch that again.
Yeah, definitely. That was the amount of photos I've seen from Vero Beach with the ground crew up in front of the jets, being that these guys were parked right there in front of the crowd. I was capturing it from the tower, and even from the tower, their flybys were literally at the same visual height of the tower. It was really incredible.
I think honestly, like the one thing I enjoyed the most about Vero is how personal that air show feels.
Yeah.
Like it's not like one of your big air shows where you feel distanced, right? You literally are like, if you're on the fence line, even if you're not on the fence line, if you're 20, 30 people deep, you're still right there. Like the performers taxiing right in front of you. The runway is not far from you. Like it's an up close and personal show.
Definitely. It is like a big show in a small town. I mean, Vero is like a small up and coming, neighborhood area. And yeah, it is. Everything is so close. The Vampire was taxiing right in front of the Blue Angels. You had the MiG taxiing right in front of Blue Angels. You had Next Gen Eagles. They were doing some type of, burnout or something right in front of a tent.
Yeah.
And besides, you have this giant VIP tent. There's no way kind of going around it, but around on the sides of it, you still have some visual, kind of windows that you could kind of peek through and look at the runway or look at the airspace around it. It was actually pretty cool. The Blue Angels always brings huge crowds. What makes photographing them different than any other demo?
I mean, one, the color. The dark blue with those yellow accents, they just make any image scream. They capture your attention no matter when, how, why, Once a Blue Angels image pops up on your screen, you're locked in on it. I think the other thing is just the raw aspect of those F-18s. Something about them just they just look so good. Uh, and then, one of the other benefits we've got with that is, talking about the F-18 itself, but when you put them down in Vero near the ocean, you get the vapes.
Oh
There were
yeah.
some pretty good vapes that weekend.
Oh yeah.
It looked like Sunday's vapes from what I saw from some people were better than Saturday's. But yeah, Sunday or Saturday still put off some decent vapes.
Yeah, I got some really awesome photos. Actually, one of those photos is going to be the cover for this show next week, so it's going to be good. Is there a photo that you were hoping to capture that weekend, or that you were able to get, or one that you might have missed?
I mean, there's when you're talking about the blues, we'll touch on that real quick since we're already talking about them. When you're talking about the blues, you're always talking about that high speed, the sneak pass from left to right. When we've seen all the videos and everything from practice in Pensacola, where the vape cloud around it, right? Obviously, they're not really going to pull that off in a rural area with the during the air shows for the most part. But I mean, he still gets up there to the point where there was some pretty good vape coming off of him. So that's always my number one goal is to just get some good vape shots of the blues. And I did get a couple of good ones. But one of my favorite images that I think I got, because we talked about it a little bit offline, was seeing the vampire for the first time. Getting some good quality images of the vampire to add to the library. That was definitely a fun one.
Yeah, I didn't get any vape photos off the vampire, but
No, but that thing just looks so cool
yeah,
flying, and
it is awesome.
it's impressive.
Would you say that's your biggest surprise for that weekend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How was your lighting conditions or any technical issues
No,
photographing the
not
show?
really.
No?
Lighting conditions were good. We had a little bit of cloud cover on Saturday, so that helped a lot. It breaks up all that blue sky. The stuff we don't like as photographers, just pure blue sky. You get the
Yeah.
clouds in there. So with the threat of thunderstorms that day, we had some cloud cover and it broke things up a little bit. No technical issues.
Yeah. Is there a time of day that you prefer to take your aviation images for an air show?
I mean, in an air show, you really are. It's not at your control, right? You got to go with the air show window. One thing that I do like to try to do at Sun and Fun, and I'll be doing it here at Oshkosh, is some of the static stuff, getting golden hour statics, whether it's sunrise, sunset, that kind of stuff. Obviously, if there's nighttime air shows, twilight always brings. We've done it at Sun and Fun plenty of times, right?
Yeah.
The twilight air shows where you get that sun setting and you get the golden hour with all the different abilities to capture that because it's not like we get that regularly. I mean, if we could all control it, I think we'd have a twilight air show every air show, right? Temperatures are a little bit cooler down here in
Yeah.
Florida. The sun usually gives us a nice show.
Yeah, that's something I was gonna touch base on. There's so many more air shows coming up with night air shows and twilight air shows. Those are like the best hours to capture. I mean, one, when you see the F-22 in a twilight show, it kind of ruins your daylight shows with them. So you always kind of like, okay, well, it's a daylight show. Let's hope for some vapes. If not, all this twilight shows is going to be my coverage for the year. Some of your best images aren't in the sky. Or did you find any great moments in the crowd or in the statics?
There were a couple images that I captured with the ground crew and stuff from Blues. Because, like I said, it being a more personable air show where you were up close and personal with them literally parked, what, maybe 50 to 100 feet away from you, or not feet, but maybe yards, maybe about a football field away.
I don't even think it was that much.
And nah, I mean, it was close. I wasn't even expecting it to be that close, but it was close. But no, being that up close and personal, I happened to get some really cool images of the ground crew doing their thing. Got to capture some of like the raw emotion and candids, like them, kind of having fun, either post check or pre show or something like that, and then kind of using the crowd. I think there were a couple shots where I used the crowd um, as like a foreground to shoot some stuff. I think one of my favorite images I actually captured from the show because where I was standing. I was up on the fence line just to the left of the Blues family tent. So I had the Blues literally off to my right. So every time a performer would come in from the right, Vampire, Next Gen, all that stuff, they were coming down right through the tails of the Blues. And so
Nice.
I was capturing them like through the Blues, and it was so cool to have. Like there's nothing cooler to me than having like something cool in the foreground, and then, like, especially something iconic like that.
Yeah, definitely. So your work kind of spans aviation and automotive. You're slowing down that shutter for automotive shots. Are you trying to do any kind of artistic photos for aviation?
I mean, I haven't yet. You might have just planted a seed. Obviously I do a lot of motorsport stuff, a lot of panning there.
Yeah.
And motorsport's so different with panning. You can get I don't wanna say it, let me rephrase this before I even say it. I was about to say you can get more creative with it, but you can get creative with panning and air show photography too. It's just a matter of doing it and really thinking outside the box. Because like, with automotive, it's literally same with motorsport, it's same level. With air show, you're kinda looking up and you don't really have tree lines and stuff like that for the most part to compete with. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one thing I'm really trying to expand on is like those low passes. And obviously, you get to experience it a little bit more when you're shooting from the tower because you get those sight lines where you can look down on things a bit, and you can really showcase the motion there. Because like that's the hard part. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get the propeller and stuff like that, but with the jets, it's mainly blue sky and clouds. It's hard to capture that motion. Um,
Yeah. It's mostly I think in more of a takeoff or a landing for
right.
your demo
Yeah,
team.
and that's where I'm really trying to, like, hone in the stuff is, like, dropping that shutter speed on the takeoffs and landings and stuff and panning with it and really trying to get a bit of that motion behind it. It's stuff that I'm definitely gonna work on at Oshkosh because there's gonna be plenty of that at Oshkosh this year.
Yeah.
So
Is there any type of editing techniques or, we saw we're gonna touch base on it a little bit because we saw all of this
oh
pixel stretching.
god. I know where you're going with this already.
We got a bunch of like every time I logged into Instagram, it was someone doing a pixel stretch on something.
It's died down a little bit, thankfully. Oh my god.
Died down a little bit. I did see maybe two photographers do this new technique with like setting up, like I shoot normally with a grid on my viewfinder, right? I can see the grid and I try to keep it within the, rule of thirds and all that stuff. So someone put the grid on the image on Adobe. And then based on how, like, if the jet's moving, the grid kind of moved with it.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because
I'll
it
have
looks
to
kind of
send you
cool.
one because there's a motorsport photographer. He's a professional. He does this for a living. He travels all over. I don't know if you follow any motorsport.
I get.
Jamie Price.
Yes, I follow him.
So Jamie Price is like some of his reels that people love are the ones where it literally is through his viewfinder and you can see his focus point like moving around
Yeah,
and then like the shutters going off and everything. Like that's awesome to me. If someone can find a way to do that while they're panning aviation, hands down, you've got it figured out. But the key thing is like when Jamie does it, his camera's not moving. He's literally at a hole on a fence line and he's looking down a straightaway and they're coming at him. Like,
yeah. I think he has that camera. I don't know what camera you're using. I have an old DSLR, but I think on his camera he has that eye tracking.
yeah.
So where he's looking, pretty much that focus point is moving around.
Yep.
So that's literally his eye of what he's actually looking at, and then just capturing all these images. What camera are you shooting with?
R6.
Okay, so I think you have the focus, right? The eye focus.
It does people and animals. It doesn't do cars or planes.
Okay, so I think it might be the R6 two
The
then, or
R6 II, I think, has it. And then
yeah,
obviously once you get up into the like the R5, the R3s, once you get up into the higher echelons, then yeah,
yeah,
you definitely have it.
yeah.
But
Any any
I have the original R6. I got it when it first came out. So
yeah, I have a Nikon D500. God, I still have my Nikon D300, but it's like $100 now if I want to sell it.
here, if we're gonna talk about,
Was it an AE1 or? Yep.
I should break this out at an air show.
Yeah, do it. I shot on that probably early 2000s. I shot on that probably in the God, I was like 9 years old in the 90s or something. I shot on the AE-1.
Yeah.
I love
It
that.
mainly sits up here on the shelf.
My camera of choice right now is this little it's a it's a film roll kinda, it has I guess, a disposable lens on the front.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's wild. It's a wild little thing. Been playing with it. There's it's a square pixel type of, one-to-one image thing, but all right, let's get back to it. Okay, we've talked about those trendy editing techniques. We're not doing that. I do
Yeah,
that.
no. No.
I like the artsy fartsy images there.
Certain images work with that pixel stretch, but when everybody's doing it on every different thing, it just doesn't work well.
You know what? I never saw the pixel stretch on a cheeseburger. I should do that.
I feel like Whataburger missed a total ad there. I feel like
Um,
I feel like if there was a brand to do it, it should be like Culver's or Whataburger. I feel like those two with their colors and stuff, they could make it kind of artistic. I don't feel like Five Guys or anything like that needs to do it, but yeah.
no.
Anyways,
So you spend a lot of time around the pilots and performers. I know when I had walked around the air show on Saturday morning, there was an owner of a Corsair out there. She was doing like,
yeah. Godspeed, WWP or WPP Legacy. They're
yes,
from Houston, Texas.
yeah, that was awesome. They had brought the Corsair in. I believe they brought in a P-51,
Yep, and they had the Albatross.
the Albatross. Yeah,
Yep.
that
I'm
was pretty
actually
cool.
linking up with them in Oshkosh. I sat and chatted with them for a little bit. Audra and her husband are the two mainly from WPP. And then her Instagram handle is Hellcats. I think she's one of the maintainers for them.
Hmm.
There's more to her name. I can't remember what it is. It's like Hellcats Bombardier or something like that. Totally probably just butchered that. But I talked to them for quite a bit. They were at the booth for the legacy for the legacies, we'll call it. And yeah, they're going to be at Oshkosh. I think they're bringing Godspeed, which is the Corsair, and then they're bringing the Albatross. I don't know if they're bringing the Mustang, but I should be able to do some stuff with them while I'm at Oshkosh. At least that's what the hope is in the conversation right now.
Oh, very cool.
My patch is on the Albatross now. It's actually they started a patch wall inside the Albatross, and Audra put it up there.
Oh, awesome.
So my
Yeah,
name flies on that Albatross anywhere it goes now.
very cool. I hope you do get some good photos of that and
Yeah, I'm hoping that the hope is, and this is the conversation now that I've been talking to Audra about, because we kind of started the conversation now. I guess she has some photography ability, and they just bought her an R5 Mark II and some gear, and she wants to learn how to use it for like air to air and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so one of the conversations was, I'll teach you what I know, if we can exchange compensation of me going up, and because like they keep posting like reels of like looking out the window of the Albatross while they're flying down like the coast or whatever, like when they were flying home from Vero back to Houston with like the Corsair and the 51 flying in formation with the Albatross. And I was like, dude, that's a dream vision right there.
Oh yeah,
I would love to be on that Albatross with my camera out the window and the Albatross doing air to air photography and the Corsair and the 51 together. We may make it happen in Oshkosh.
cool,
It may be coming. So
awesome. I mean, it would be great to get all three of them in the air.
yeah, I
Maybe
mean
have their own,
the big thing is like, what do you fly in to get an Albatross air to air, right? Like,
probably a Seneca or something.
yeah, I mean, we'll see if we can make that work, because my hope is to be able to get air to air the Albatross too, and give them all three planes if they bring all three of them. Give them some
Yeah,
results for all three. But yeah, no, at
yeah.
least put
Good
me
luck.
on the Albatross and let me shoot a Corsair.
Good luck. I hope that happens for you.
Yeah, we'll see. Week to go.
So for someone shooting an air show for the first time or attending an air show with a camera, what's the biggest mistake they should avoid?
Having expectations. I think that's one of the biggest things, right? And I've learned this because I do it to myself all the time. Well, I think rule number one would be make sure you have everything. I've actually shown up to an air show and not had, what is it? I went to Sanford one year and I took my R6. I had the 150 to 600, and I had broke down my kit at one point, and I had just grabbed the lens and I grabbed the body thinking that everything was good to go. I had my I had a lens on the R6, but it was an RF lens, not an EF lens at the time. And so I just grabbed my kit. I get to the air show and my wife's standing there and I pull everything out of the bag and I look at everything and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to use the 150. She goes, why? I said, I forgot my adapter because it wasn't on the body and I thought it was. So like that air show was a bust. Like I ended up carrying a camera the whole air show in a backpack for no reason other than a few static shots. But so yeah, make sure you're always prepared as far as
Yeah.
your gear is concerned, batteries, memory cards, all of that. That's the biggest one. Number two, like I said, expectations. I do this every air show. You think I'd have learned by now. Go in with like knowing the performer list, have an idea what I want to capture, and stuff like that. And that's the biggest thing. You can have an idea of the images you want to create, but just know that it might not happen because the circumstances are always out of your control, right? Whether it be weather, lighting, like you never know what you're going to come away with. But I can tell you, Sun and Fun, I didn't set expectations for myself this year. And I walked away with some of my favorite images from an air show that I've taken in a few years from Sun and Fun. So like not having expectations and just going and having fun with it was big.
Yeah, I've had a few maintenance issues. I don't clean my sensor beforehand, and now I have to edit. 5,000 pieces of dust, or you don't charge your batteries. I have four batteries. I think it was a Sanford air show, and I had one battery. It was half charged, and I probably shot, I don't know, all of it, and within like an hour and a half. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just watch this show. And that's kind of cool too, because we spend a lot of time looking through a viewfinder and watching a show. I don't spend a lot of time just watching it.
No,
And sometimes you just want to enjoy it, you know?
and that was the hard part about Sun and Fun this year
Yeah.
because it's not often if you don't go to other air shows outside of Florida that we get a Twilight Raptor demo. You get it twice. You get it Wednesday and Saturday. That's it. And then whatever air shows now in Florida that seem to be adding the Twilight stuff on that the Raptor goes to. And so like for me, with the Raptor being number one for me,
I thought it was
for
the F-18.
no, the Raptor's number one for me. For me, with that being number one, it was really hard to live behind the viewfinder for that air show. Like
Yeah.
there was so many moments where I'm like, I just want to watch this. Like I don't really want to live behind my viewfinder. But, those were some of my favorite images that I walked away from Sunify with. And I'm glad that I actually, was behind the viewfinder.
Yeah. There's so many great air shows. There's so many great aircraft out there. I mean, next gen, you have F-22, F-35s. They're kind of overpowering everything. I still love the F-15. I would love to see an F-15 EX demo.
You know what I'm really hoping for? And this is where I go back on the whole expectations thing. I am really hoping that that American flag liveried F-15 flies some sort of passes at
Yeah.
Oshkosh this year because it's going to be there. That and the F-18. I hope I get some photographs of that thing flying this year.
Yeah, that's when I saw it painted up and flying to DC, I was like, man, I really missed out. This is the amazing that, and they have the F-15 and an F-18
Hmm.
painted in the American flag. Oshkosh this year is pretty epic. You
Oh
have
yeah,
those two
they.
aircraft. You have
My story, my personal life story, where I've been unemployed for the last 7 months or whatever. That has actually almost cost me my Oshkosh trip because there were plenty of times where we're looking at this and we're like, it doesn't really make financial sense for me to go.
yeah,
But I sat here and I looked at it and I was like, it's the 250th. The lineup's stacked. I'm going to see things I've never seen before and probably not have an opportunity to again in the near future. And then I'm media for the first year as well. I'm accredited media this year
nice.
for American Airshow Review for Chaz. And I was like, I can't let him down by not going. So that's always been like my whole like, I'm going regardless. But no, it's gonna be an awesome week. It is gonna be
Yeah.
so good.
And that's your first time going?
I've been to Oshkosh once. I went
Oh,
back in 2013. 3, I think.
Okay, so not too long ago.
No, no, no. And I was up there for 4 days. This time I'll be up there for 5. I'm fly up Tuesday morning, first thing, I'm on a 6 a.m. flight, so I'll be there bright and early. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty amazing. But we're talking about the Vero Beach Air Show.
Yeah, yeah. Back to the
Before
air show
before
at
we
hand.
get into the Oshkosh next week, let's wrap up Vero Beach. When people look back at your Instagram, I don't know if you have a webpage, but if people look at your work from Vero Beach, what do you hope they remember from that?
I think if people that were there look at my images, I hope it brings them some sort of memory. For me, example would be like, and these are things I hope for in the future, but bring back my past. Like I went to air shows my whole entire life as a kid with my
Mhm.
dad, and I can look back at images because my dad was an aviation photographer on the hobby side. I can look back at images that he took, and it brings back memories from like watching things fly with him, and seeing some of the planes that obviously aren't flying now. Like we've seen an F-14 fly. That was
It
insane.
might it might come back.
It might come back. I've seen an
Or
F-14.
it's
I can
coming
say
back.
I've seen one though. I was probably 5 or 6, but I can say I've seen one fly at an air show. We've sat at Miramar back when it was in California, and watched them go in and out of there. But I hope that my images spark something with someone, whether it be inspiration to go to an air show, spark or ignite a love for aviation or an interest in it. Even the one big thing for me that I live for now as a dad is like I hope all my love for planes and maybe photography too, but mainly planes, and general aviation. I hope my kid, my son, really gets into it, and it takes hold of him and he gets the bug like I do. Um, but yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you. That's the best thing that we do is we share our love and our passion for aviation, you
Yeah, and I
know?
mean I think that's why we create what we create and why we do what we do is to inspire and just keep people going and keep aviation going, and just the passion for it all.
100%. Yes. So where can listeners find your work besides your Instagram?
I have a website, brandonconnellyphotography.com. You can find all my different work there. There's a Facebook page as well. So I'm not really on Threads. I'm on TikTok, but I never post on it. I have like 3 videos on TikTok. With 2 kids, I don't have the time to really invest into it. I wish I did. Yeah. I mean, Instagram's my main one right now. Instagram and my website.
All right, Brandon, let me wrap this up and then we'll close out here. I want to thank you today for your time coming on. I know, we were trying to pick a time frame, but we're able to do it. This is the perfect time for everyone that's listening or watching. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that like, follow so you can get the new videos or new tracks coming out. I guess I don't know, they're tracks episodes. Get the new episodes coming out and even listen on to the older ones. So this episode is going to be released next week, the 21st. And by that time, you'll be gearing up. You'll be at Oshkosh. Remember to charge your battery.
21st, I will be in Oshkosh. I'll be in Oshkosh first thing that morning.
All right. Well, this comes out at 7 p.m. on the
Oh,
21st.
we'll already be through a day of Oshkosh by then.
Make sure you charge your batteries, clean your sensors, and keep everything ready to go. Don't forget those
I'm
memory cards.
already doing gear prep, and I've still got a week before I fly. I'm already like prepping everything. Look, I got everything starting to get cleaned and organized, and I got batteries and everything all over here. Yeah, I'm already
Don't forget,
starting.
don't forget those memory cards too. Keep them ready.
Oh, I've got to clear all those. That's the next move.
All right, man. Best of luck with you at Oshkosh next week. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. And
If you
thanks
need
again for
somebody to
coming.
talk Oshkosh, I'll have plenty of talk.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Have a good night, Brandon. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you.